Okay guys, so the last part of our unit circle is to learn what a radian is and how we use that on the unit circles. So a radian is a different unit of measurement to measure the angle on a circle or the arc length on a circle. Now we're gonna just pause real quick, and I just want to explain this to you a little bit more. Sometimes we have different measurements, and the measurements are different, but that doesn't mean that the item itself is different. For example, here's Miss Summers. Okay, Miss Summers has beautiful long hair, and she's always so happy, right? And she is 5 foot 3 inches tall. Okay. Now, let's say that I wanted to know what that was in just feet, okay? So there's 12 inches in a foot, so that would be 5.25 feet, okay? Now, let's say I wanted to convert that to inches. I wanted to know exactly how many inches Miss Summers is. Well, what I times that by is the conversion factor to get from feet to inches. So I know that there is 12 inches in 1 foot. Okay. And I knew I wanted to put the feet on the bottom of my conversion factor. Because I want the feet to cancel, okay? So now I can multiply this fraction straight across, and I'm going to use my calculator to help me. 5.25 times 12, and I get 63 inches, okay? Now, Miss Summers' height isn't any different if I say she's 5.25 feet tall versus 63 inches tall. It's just a different unit of measurement for the exact same thing. Now, let's say I had started with the 63 inches, and I'm going to do the same conversion factor, 12 to 1, but this time I want the inches to go on the bottom because I want the inches to cancel. So this time, when I multiply straight across, I end up with 63 feet over 12, and if I divide that out, I'll get 5.25 feet. Now, everything we're doing today, we're going to want exact reduced fractions. I'm just trying to show you this to make a point. Okay? So this, 1 to 12, these are the conversion factors from feet to inches. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the conversion factor from degrees to radians. Now, I want you to think of radians similar to like feet and inches. Radians is just a different unit of measurement for measuring the angles of things, just like feet and inches measure the same thing. One is just a different size than the other. Okay? When I have a circle and I take its radius length, okay, now I want you to imagine that I have a little piece of string that I can put right here at the center, and I'm going to drag it along the radius. I'm going to cut it to be exactly 1 radius length. Then I'm going to take that same piece of string, okay, and I'm going to start it right here at my 0 degrees, and I'm going to wrap it around the edge of the circle. So right there is 1, okay, radius length wrapped around the edge of the circle. Now that becomes the intercepted arc for an angle that we call 1 radian. Now, I want you to take a guess. Just take a quick guess. How many degrees do you think that is? Did you say maybe right around 60? Well, it's pretty close to 60. It's about 57. But it would be nice if we could figure out exactly how many it was instead of just a guess. So let's see if we can figure out how many of these radian lengths would fit all the way around the circle. Okay, if I did this radius length again, maybe right there. That looks a little big, doesn't it? Let's try it again. Maybe right there. Now you can do this at home with any size circle if you want it in a piece of string. You just keep wrapping the string around the edge of the circle. One, two, three, four. I must be doing these too big. Let's try this again. All right. It turns out that when you do this, I'd love for you guys at home to do this with string and any size circle, but you end up with 6 full ones and a little extra. Now 6 full and a little extra is exactly 2 pi. Type 2 pi in your calculator and see what you get. It's about 6.28, 6 and a little extra, but it's exactly 2 pi. Now we need to come up with the conversion factor to get from degrees to radians. Well, 2 pi radians is a full circle, and 360 degrees is a full circle. Now both of those are divisible by 2, so if I get my exact reduced fraction, I get pi radians over 180 degrees. Now this is my conversion factor, just like 1 to 12 is my conversion factor for feet to inches. And we can do either pi over 180 or 180 over pi, depending on what we're trying to get rid of, the degrees or the radians, and what we're trying to keep.